Alright, and this is the semi-final we have been all waiting for. It is my uttermost pleasure introducing the player who spawns here at the top left position. He is Sage from Root Gaming.
And over here on the bottom right hand side of the map, we do have GoOdy. GoOdy, everyone's favorite Terran mech player. And we'll see whether or not he does decide to surprise us and not go mech, or if he introduces some more mech beatdown onto Sage.
And also, people call GoOdy the Panzer General. I'm not sure if you were aware of that. Have you played
Panzer General?
Yeah, Panzer General. Because tanks used to be called Panzers by Germans during the World War II, and also there was a game Panzer General, so you know. Achtung, Panzer! I'm not really sure I've done the correct accent on that, but hey.
You know what? I'm none the wiser to any accent except Asian ones, which I'm only allowed to do since I'm Asian.
Oh, you are Asian.
Yes, I am Asian.
And are you? So is English your native language, or have you? Yeah.
Well, I grew up in the States, but primarily Chinese was spoken at home, so my English was a little bit behind, according to all of my teachers who had to deal with me throughout my elementary school years.
And, well, right now your English is stellar, my friend. I would love to have that level of English someday.
Well, English is my main language now, but it's then yeah, it's my main language now, but then again I still trip up over some words. But let's stop talking about my English, good or bad, and talk about what Sage is going for. You know if Sage does this on purpose, where he only puts 2 probes on one gas and 3 on the other?
Yes.
Is this a very specific build?
I'm not sure if it's a very specific build, but I think it's a way of optimizing his own builds. And just having a little more macro-oriented play. He usually does that. You know, how much advantage did it give him? I would say around 60 minerals, perhaps, over having 3 workers right away in the gas geyser. But this is something we see one game to the other, one way after the other. Sorry, and he does that almost at every game.
Alright, and speaking about what we're seeing here, Sage actually setting up a proxy pylon over here at what I'll call the 6 o'clock position. And if GoOdy is an observant Terran, he would have scouted out the base and goes, you know what? You're missing a pylon in your base. You will be supply blocked unless you throw down a pylon somewhere. So I think he should be hunting it. If he doesn't hunt for it, and he just goes for a whole bunch of Marines and Marauders and Widow Mines, it's going to be a little bit difficult to shut down the Oracle.
What you mentioned is actually the best way to scout for a proxy Stargate play. If he has 2 gases and he doesn't go for the 3rd pylon in his own base, then he should get pretty much supply blocked. And if there is no pylon there, there must be somewhere on the map, and if there is, he's hiding something. If he's hiding something right now, he doesn't have 3 or 4 gates in his main, that means it is Stargate. If he had 3 or 4 gates in his main, that could be a proxy robo, but yeah. So anyway, this is a very subtle thing you can do with your scouting. A very small push to Marines, 1 Marauder, 2 SCVs, and a Widow Mine. This is also something we have seen a lot recently. This small push can in fact deal a lot of damage. And there's a probe. Well, sorry, Proberto, you won't be going back home for Christmas now. And we already have an Oracle that makes its way to the mineral line.
Alright, so are we going to have a 6-minute base trade of workers? That is the question, as the Oracle now comes in. There it goes, going to be taking down SCVs left and right. All the SCVs trying to run and return home. There is a Widow Mine burrowed and taking down a probe at the natural expansion. But what is this Oracle going to be doing? Oh, a beautiful hit by GoOdy, baiting that Oracle there.
That was a beautiful bait indeed, and also it kind of makes my point regarding the Oracle being a detector. He had Oracles, but then, you know, right now he'll be having problems getting rid of that Widow Mine. Oracles...
No, he's not. He has another Oracle already there.
Yeah,
there is the detection, and there's the Stalkers. So, like, there you have it. Just a perfect range of 6 outside the range of the Widow Mine, and the Oracle is another option for detection, even though it may not be the best. It makes sure that you're not going to get shut down by Cloaked Banshees or Dark Templar if you happen to go the Stargate route.
Yeah, that's true. Although, you know, what needs to be mentioned, it's not a classic form of having an observer where you can have that detection at all times. So it's a little bit weaker form of detection, but still viable for some counters. So, like you said, countering Banshees, very smart. Countering Dark Templars, very smart. But countering early game Widow Mines, you need to back away to your own base with your scout, with your harassing units. So, you know, I will always be the advocate against using oracles as your standard detector. But anyway, it's only me just rambling about this. So we'll see what happens now. There's a Phoenix in this push.
Oh, no, the Phoenix is just here to absorb the Widow Mine. Oh, there it is.
Nice.
And now in comes the Oracles for some more kills.
Nice.
Some beautiful, beautiful play there. The Marines are going to try to make their way over, but the Oracle should be able to finish off the Marines pretty easily. Now backing away, and
Wow.
nicely done. Baiting
Check
the
out
Marines.
his check out his micro. It was crazy. He has saved the one Oracle with only 4 hit points, and GoOdy GG's out of the game. His losses are too tremendous to keep him going. And, well, that was some smart play by Sage. I like this player more and more the more games I get to cast of him.
Yeah, definitely a very, very good game, and I liked how we each got to make our points, and we're like, what is he doing with that Phoenix? And we're like, oh my gosh,
Yes.
he's gonna bait the Widow, and Sage seems like he was just one step ahead every time. One thing I will make a note: Widow Mines do extra damage against shields.
Yes.
So if you didn't know that, if you're wondering how come that Phoenix almost died off of one Widow Mine attack, I thought it had 180 hit points. There's a 25 or 35 bonus damage against shields.
Exactly right, and you know, having a Widow Mine placed in the correct spot is actually a very good counter to any sort of Oracle play. You just need to, you know, Oracles have to get very close to the workers in order to deal damage, because they don't have a huge range. I think it's only 3 or 4, if I'm not mistaken. And then if you have a Widow Mine burrowed near your mineral line, you're just safe.
Yeah. But that bait with Sage, and then having 2 Oracles just deal that much damage, it was refreshing to see. It was refreshing to see actually engagements that early on.
And again, this is one of the changes that we discussed earlier on, that the Heart of the Swarm has many more viable options for early game aggression, and that's why this is such a good follow-up after Wings of Liberty. Instead of the early game being passive, you will have an early game which is still very viable to go for aggression, and then taking expansions will become a risk. Instead of taking an expansion and saying, yeah, I can defend that with workers, who cares about any aggression, it's not that much he can do. Right now, going for early game aggression means you can easily cancel out, you know, your enemy's expansion. So scouting will be more important, and you will need to do it more frequently. And when you take an expansion, you will feel the chills on your back. You will be thinking, oh my god, what if he's going for an Oracle? No, he's going to straight up kill me. So
Yeah.
That brings the much welcome addition of much more harassment in Heart of the Swarm.
Alright, so let's go ahead and prep for Game 2. It will be on Daybreak.
Yeah, Daybreak, we have discussed that I think hundreds of times. One of the oldest maps around. We no longer play on maps like Metropolis. Oh, sorry, I just got confused. My brain seemed to have erased the information. Which one is which?
Metropolis is the current one. Metalopolis was the old one.
Right, yeah, okay, sorry. You
Yeah,
know,
Metalopolis is the one that had, I believe, the gold mineral patches in the middle, 2 Zelnaga towers with the 2 highways, and then very, very close by air spawns where an overlord could scout you with the new movement speed in about like 10 seconds. So we'll see what's going to happen here as Sage is spawning as the yellow Protoss on the top right hand side of the map.
And in the bottom right side, left side of the map, sorry, it's not right, it's left, it's the other right. Here spawns GoOdy from ESC as a purple Terran.
Alright, so Terran versus Protoss once more, and we saw a very, very fast game in Game 1, and it looks like it's going to be a faster game in Game 2, at least in terms of tech, as GoOdy goes for a refinery first. Do you think that's going to be Hellbat?
Yes.
What do you think?
So there are two options to go from here. We had exact situation, I think, last tournament, and we saw it play out both ways. So either you go an extra fast Hellbat drop, and it's absurdly fast. You have Hellbats and Medivacs ready very quickly, and I think it's the fastest way you can do it. Or you could go for some early game Reaper harassment, and this extra early gas has actually shown us how to work it both ways. So right now there is no way of telling which one it's going to be. Since there is no meta game at this point, we can't tell which one is the most popular one. I would bet for Hellbats, but then Reapers, I would love to see them dominate the scene again.
Yeah, Reapers have been one of those units where, like, hey, let's try to make Reapers good. Oh, we made them too good. Let's scale them back. Oh, now no one's using them. Let's make them a little bit better. Oh, now they're too good. So it's been very difficult to balance the Reaper and what the role of the Reaper is. The Reaper, I don't believe, is going to be doing any late game antics, as we do see an early factory. No, and there is the reactor, so it could in fact be Hellbats, as you mentioned. The question will be also, will he be able to get the armory and the two medevacs up in time?
You know, the build allows for that, but the question is, did Sage check the refinery? Because in order to scout this build, you have to check the amount of gas on the refinery to see if it has been mined for a longer while. And, you know, a factory, but then one thing I'm concerned about is maybe GoOdy made a modification to that build, but normally this extra quick Hellbat drop required only one medivac. Now with Hellbats, okay, let's forget about that. He's just going for a Widow Mine. Why not?
Alright, so like as we mentioned before, there is no metagame. I really don't like it when people say, you know what, you guys need to study the metagame of the beta more. Like, what the beta keeps on changing.
Yeah, there is no metagame
every
right
5 days, so you can't really say that it's a metagame when the players are still trying to adapt. I don't know what to make of this early Widow Mine. There is no starport, so it's not going to be a drop of any sort. There's not going to be any sort of expansion. This is all rather strange.
Well, GoOdy went. I think maybe his game plan has changed. That would probably be it. He went for an engineering bay to block the Protoss's expansion, and this is even more annoying than a pylon placed under Zerg's expansion, because you can wait as long as you like, and the engineering bay has a lot of health points, so then you just cancel it and you get most of the minerals returned, and that's it. You have just delayed your enemy by a considerable lot. Now we have a proxy Stargate here on the top of the map, and an expansion going down for GoOdy, so I'm not really sure what he's going after, my friend. It just...
Yeah, this all looks really, really strange. The Stargate, I want to call it a proxy, but it's really not that much closer to his opponent's base.
It's just hidden.
It's a hidden. It's more like it's a ninja Stargate as opposed to a proxy, and we are going to see Sage with the pro behind the mineral lines here. Both of them. Actually, it looks like GoOdy is going for an expansion and Sage is not. So with this, the Mothership Core, this is going to be that variation of that 4-gate, maybe with Oracles now instead of Void Rays that we saw earlier. And is this going to be successful is the key question.
Well, one thing is sure, this game is going to be crazy now. I think Sage should already get the Mothership Core, or should we call it Yo Mama Ship Core, moving, and to get her butt over to the opponent's base, because at this pace, and Mothership Core is a very slow unit, it may not reach the Terran's base in time, but then Sage is going for an expansion also, so I think we see a lot of, you know, game plan changing in both of these two guys, and we can't say for sure, because there are no general tendencies right now. People just try out different stuff, so a lot of things may be happening in the background inside the players' heads.
Yeah, this was fast siege tanks into Expo. Fast Widow mines into Expo with siege tanks, and I believe GoOdy should be able to defend this fairly well. There is a missile turret nearby, making it very difficult for the Mothership Core to actually get close and deal any true damage.
Also, I just have this feeling that Mothership Core should be called Mother-in-Law ship, just to, you know, give it a bigger sense of threat and... you know, just being more overwhelming in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my
Definitely
god.
the case, okay.
Yeah. Go on.
Okay, so Stalkers are now trying to push in here. Siege tank, double siege tanks in the back. It is going to hold that defense. Sage should perhaps now stop. If you guys don't know, the Oracle attack is a channeled ability, so you actually want to turn it off when you're not using it. Otherwise, it would. Okay, he did go ahead and turn that off. Now we'll see if the Mothership Core is going to be able to do any aggression here. I have seen proxy or siege tank nexuses as well, where you warp in a nexus and then utilize the Mothership Core with that range of 13. That's risky and maybe even a little stupid against GoOdy, who already has siege tanks in position here.
I think calling it risky is very diplomatic way of saying it. If you do a proxy nexus, it's I don't think there are a lot of cases in which it has actually worked. I mean, if you manage to sneak it in, maybe on ladder where people don't expect it, but on such high level play, players usually have the full vision around their bases and they know what's going to happen. Now, if you know, back to this game, if GoOdy would go for some drops right now, it would be so much strong, because Sage is spread out very thinly. More than that, he's spread out around the front of his opponent's base, so not much he can do himself right now.
Alright, so it looks as though Sage did cast a revelation to see what exactly is being trained on all of these buildings here. So he knows the factory, the Hellions, he knows that nothing else is being researched there. A Widow Mine now coming into position, and the Sage may accidentally fly straight in here and get that shot down once more. This is all looking like a fast tech game gone awry, and now it is, I'm going to sit in my base, and you're going to sit in yours, and we'll meet each other when we have 150 supply.
Yeah, and GoOdy, well, GoOdy always has been a player who is very good with positioning, with defensive abilities. He's one of the probably most annoying people to play against, where you just can't deal the damage you really want to deal. And as you see, he pretty much walled himself off. The only blank space between the turrets in his base is the one where the Widow Mine is. So good luck with that, Mr. Oracle friend.
Yeah,
now,
I think he's trying to bait it.
I think so too. Oracles also have gained this nice ability, which is the Revelation, which just gives you the vision, and we saw that earlier on the two factories. That's a very good use. Although I think if Sage would manage to cast that on GoOdy's army, that would be even better. If you cast that on your enemy's army, that gives you pretty much vision and the knowledge of where they are going, in what numbers, and it has a huge radius, that ability you cast.
Alright, Sage already has Dark Templars in play, and it looks like Sage is going to be attacking with them all at once. He's trying to burn a scanner sweep, I believe, as the Dark Templar now chasing after a Marine. Another Marine going to get taken down there. What is happening as a missile turret now needs to be placed down? Oh, multiple missile turrets. Dark Templars are dancing around. This could be potentially bad. Dark Templars taking down SCVs and some siege tanks. This is starting to add up.
But then keeping the Dark Templars far away from each other, which means the Terran has to waste even more scans or just build a lot of turrets around in order to get them cleaned up. Now these two Oracles are just lingering here, not sure what is going to be their role inside this game. This Dark Templar has went into the natural but didn't see too much. He just saw the light at the end of the tunnel. Unfortunately, that light was a flamethrower.
Yep. Okay, so GoOdy looked like he was trying to do perhaps a Hellbat drop and accidentally scouts out the Ninja Stargate hiding off over here, and now we see a transition into Tempest. All right, so Tempest now coming in, and if no, we are seeing some Vikings as well, and this was an interesting move by GoOdy. We talked about this in a previous game where Terran players sometimes want to take that forward expansion, as Terran players generally want to expand towards their opponent in order to deal damage. Sage has gone the opposite route. He's gone and expanded into the far corners as far away as possible, and hoping to perhaps macro up and utilize tech off of 3 bases. And oh, what is this?
He
A Dark
did
Templar?
that, but I think it's important to mention why he did that. He did it because his opponent's army is very immobile. Having siege tanks and Taurs, it isn't going to get you anywhere fast. You need to carefully think about how you position yourself. And now I'm just really interested in seeing how this plays out. Tempest against this army. You know, Tempest was supposed to be an endgame Protoss unit. However, by the time you get Tempest, Terran usually has Taurs and siege tanks and a lot of Vikings and maybe Ravens. He has a lot of things. And then Tempest is not so much useful anymore.
Alright, so here we have the Tempest now pushing in on the far side. A beautiful cast of Revelation in order to gain the site here. And we are going to see some Vikings now trying to engage. The Vikings shutting down many of these Tempests.
And mass recall, yes! Nice.
Yeah, nicely done with the recall, but with so many Vikings in the air, what are those Tempests going to be doing? I had normally thought that Tempest would be better against Vikings, but that doesn't seem to be the case. They'll be
right in their last will, I guess. And here we have Sage trying to defend this with no more splash damage on the Vikings. Although there's a nice storm, but will it be enough? Well, High Templars aren't known for their ability to deal with mech tech. And oh my god, all the High Templars get chewed by the Hellbats. Not so good for the Terran. Now 3 Tempests are alive, none of the Vikings left standing, and right now GoOdy has a huge ground army also with the Taurs that are able to shoot down Tempests also easily, and this Protoss's base goes down, although as we mentioned earlier, Sage is all around the map, so we will see how this goes on. Oh my god, no! What are these workers doing here? Go back home!
Well, they're trying to continue to mine from there, but somehow Sage has actually found a good spot, and Tempest with that really good range, really far range, the Thor is unable to shoot down those Tempests. As you remember, the Tempests do not have bonus damage to ground massive, so Thor should have been able to take them down. Instead, they were focusing on Dark Templars and Stalkers and Zealots that were on the ground.
Yeah, so right now, Sage, moving around the map, he has small groups of Zealots plus a Dark Templar. Basically, it's very nice to hide the Dark Templar inside a Zealots group, because when you feel that you have dealt with the Zealot threat, and you just don't notice that there was a Dark Templar behind. Another battle coming right up here at the Sage's 4th or 5th or 6th base, we don't know. One Dark Templar is ripping a Tor apart, no scans. For now, Terran just doesn't notice. He's focused on getting these High Templars, and what are these guys doing? Oh my god. Tempest dealing a lot of damage, but then is it enough to get rid of GoOdy's forces?
Alright, so some of them do not have the high impact payload. Only one of them does. Now they're swapping over, but it is a 4-second swap, and that was a lot of damage lost, as you now see GoOdy coming over with the high impact payload Thors, but the Thors simply are getting outnumbered, and those Tempests are able to shoot and scoot using that stutter step against those very slow moving Thors.
You are able to use that stutter step, as you called it, with the Tempests. Very much similar to the way how it works with Banshees. They have a small period where they still fly in the direction they were flying, and you can just turn around, fire up one time, and then move towards the direction where you wanted to move initially. Anyway, GoOdy with a lot of Vikings. I'm not sure that Sage has enough Tempests. It seems that the game is leaning more and more towards GoOdy with his strong army composition, and also Sage losing majority of his Tempests.
Alright, yeah, a 40 supply discrepancy between the two. Vikings now trying to push in. However, a very narrow corridor, and the Hellbats can't make their way in, and all Thors probes, both of them just simply walking by again. And Sage needs to clean up all of those units in just a moment. It looks like a last 3 Tempests still alive. And GoOdy coming back over with heavier production, training up more Thors, Hellions, and Hellbats back at home. Should be able to seal the deal with the next round of units.
Yes, it seems so, even though, you know, you may say, oh yeah, Sage has defended this again, he has another base hidden here, which have just been discovered by these Hellions, and, well, not too many workers, I imagine, will get out of that alive, although, I may need to second guess myself. Very nice save with only 3 Stalkers, but then, you know, even Sage keeps winning small skirmishes. On the grander scheme of things, GoOdy is so far ahead. He has a huge army advantage, 130 supply against 91, and you know, he just needs to gather a little bit of momentum, and after that he will be able to trample on Sage.
Well, what's important to note is that Sage actually has the larger army right now.
Oh.
It's because GoOdy has so many more workers that the supply discrepancy is so large. So GoOdy can replace his units faster, but that just means that both of these sides have to fight efficiently. The Tempests are now taking down a whole bunch of Thors. There's no more Vikings nearby, and with 4 Tempests cleaning up, this may be a problem. The Thor still not in that high impact payload, barely dealing any damage at all, especially against the Tempest that has very, very thick armor, reducing the damage from, I believe, 24 down to, wow, I think to the math, 18 of coming in from those stores.
Wow, so actually Sage, even though he was on his backside, we could say, may still get, yes, he gets this base, and he also gets a GG, and he goes 2-0 straight into the finals. And unfortunately, even though GoOdy was in so much stronger position, Sage was just so much more effective with his army, and he was very good at babysitting his own Tempests.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. Yeah, sometimes as we're watching the games, we look at supply and we think, okay, supply is the be-all, end-all. As long as you have more supply, you're good, you're golden. But what we saw from Sage was Sage pulled back his Tempest. He executed with a smaller number of units. He traded more efficiently throughout the battles, and then he sacrificed workers. Maybe the workers were there, like, you know what? I'm gonna let my probes die, as the Hellions are focusing down the probes and the Thors are focusing down probes, as it splits up GoOdy's army, and that's what Sage was doing. Once the army was split, Sage was able to overcome GoOdy's army one small portion at a time.
And in fact, someone at the chat makes fun of us. Oh, hey guys, you were a bit off with that prediction. Well, that's actually my fault. You know, it just seemed in GoOdy's case that he is in a very good position, but then he kept losing his army. I'm not really sure that throwing his army at Sage so frequently and sustaining so heavy losses was good. You need to sustain your army at a certain level, so after you lose a battle you can carry on. But this is actually a flaw of the general mech play, because mech units are very expensive. They are they take a lot of time to be built, so you don't really afford to lose a mech army and then reproduce it right away. It's not like with bio army. So you're exactly right. You, my dear viewers, are much smarter than I am, and we'll be moving to the grand finals now. So stay tuned, guys.